Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I'm joined by a very special guest. Incoming freshman for the Colorado College hockey team, Chorske, joins the show today. Brett previously played in the North American Hockey League for the St. Cloud Norsemen. Brett, welcome to the podcast, and how's everything going?
Good. It's been good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for coming on. Now, my first question to you is, how's your off season going, and what are you working on regarding your game for next year?
Yeah, it's been good. It's flying by. Feels like, but yeah, in terms of what I'm working on, kind of just putting on the muscle, the strength, and kind of just working on puck protection in the corners, and getting to the net, coming off the wall, stuff like that. That I've had in my game, but just trying to like find out the details and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, and do you think that's going to be the biggest adjustment you're going to have to make to college hockey, or is there something else that you think will be another big adjustment you have to make? Because obviously the speed of the game is a big aspect, but the physical part of the game as well, because you're going against guys that are 3 or 4 years older than you are heading into your freshman year.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of why I've been working on that type of stuff. I think that's probably gonna be the biggest jump. Obviously, the speed's there, and yeah, I mean the physicality is, I think, what's going to be the biggest jump. And like you said, the older guys who've been there a few years, who know how to play the game. And yeah, so I've just been working on all that stuff, and hopefully I can get a couple games in my belt and get used to it pretty quick here.
Now, for college hockey fans that have never seen you play before, just describe your game to them, and what do you hope to bring to Colorado College for next year?
Yeah, so I'd say I'm a big offensive, skilled forward who can see the ice well, like set up my teammates, but also, when there's a scoring chance, I like to take advantage of that as well. Like to play on the power play, obviously. Feel I'm pretty effective out there. And just, yeah, I mean, bring in CC, do all that stuff like they want me to do, and then just, play a 200-foot game, be reliable and defensively as well. So.
Yeah, and take me back to your recruitment process. What was that like for yourself, and what made you want to go to Colorado College versus other schools that might have been looking at you?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy, a fun time, like growing up, you always have the dream of playing college hockey, and then once it kind of becomes a reality, it's pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, I first started talking with CC in my first year of juniors, along with some other schools, but when it came down to it, I was really liked the conference, NCHC, great conference. Got the brand new rink right there on campus, across street from my dorm, which would be great. Great school too. Academics have always been a big part of my life, so I want to go somewhere I have great hockey and academics, and that was definitely a great option that way. So love the staff, love everything about it, so it was hard to pass up for sure.
Yeah, and you're obviously going into one of the best conferences in college hockey, the NCHC, with teams like Minnesota Duluth, who won the national championship in 2019, and against teams like St. Cloud State, who made it to the national championship game this past season. How excited are you to face that type of competition for next year?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Obviously, it'll be a big jump, and obviously there's nerves as well. But I'm very excited to play against those guys. It's like I said, I believe the best conference in the nation. So it'll be very fun to see some of the top players in the country, and how they work.
Now, you were saying that Colorado College got a new hockey rink, and I saw the photos of it. Have you had the chance to see the rink and what it's like? Because I've only seen pictures of it, but I don't know if it's fully complete yet.
Yeah, so it's just finishing up. When I was out there on a visit, it was still in kind of early stages. So we've just seen a lot of pictures. We're gonna have some conditioning tests in order to move into the rink. So it'll be done first week of September here. So we're all looking forward to that. We'll have access to everything we want. So it'll be great.
Yeah, that's going to be good for you guys because it gives you guys a home ice advantage compared to other teams in the NCHC because no one's played in that rink except for you guys after you play your first couple of games. Are you excited to have that advantage for home games coming up?
Absolutely, yeah. And another big thing is it's just right there on campus. The old rink was 15 minutes away or whatever. So being able to just have all the students come to every game and just have that buzz on campus will be great.
Now, let's talk a little bit about last year in the NAHL. What do you think you improved on the most, and what do you think What do you think you improved on the most, and how do you think that will be beneficial for yourself heading into college hockey next year?
Yeah, I think this past year I just worked on, gaining that confidence and holding on to the puck and making the right play, not the first play. And just, getting comfortable with all types of scenarios out there. And yeah, I mean, I think it'll help me this next year with just, I was controlling the puck a lot and had it on my stick a lot, probably more than my rookie year. So it was definitely good to, have like a bigger role in that sense and be more comfortable playing the way I want to play. And I think that'll translate well.
Now, what are some of your goals and expectations for yourself and for your team for this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, I just, as a freshman, you want to get there and, gel with the guys and find your role and just sink in that and play the best to your ability in that role. And, as a team, we've had some Zooms and we've been talking and, our expectations are to get back, to the top of the conference and what CC was at one point, winning national championships and winning a lot of games. So, it'll be a grind and a slow road, but I think we got the group and the staff to do it. So we're excited.
Now, have you had the chance to meet any of your teammates in person yet, or are you going to have to wait until you get down to school?
Yeah, I've met a few. There's actually a good amount of Minnesota kids on the team that I've known in the past. And my roommate, I like work out and skate with him almost every day. So we're pretty close too. So that'll be good, transitioning with each other. So, and then some other guys have just reached out. We've talked over the phone and stuff. So, I've talked with quite a bit of them. So that'll be a pretty easy transition, I hope.
That's good. That's good to hear. Now, obviously, this past off season, it was a lot different just because of all the restrictions with the pandemic. But with things opening back up, does that change your approach for your training heading into next year?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was pretty fortunate to have, kind of a good setup here at home with my trainers and stuff. The first 2 months or so of last summer, it was all, Zoom workouts and just in my basement, which was hard. But my gym that I go to here, it opened up and they allowed us to come in and got some good work in that way. And the rink started to open up too, but this summer, like you said, everything was just fully open and we were going at it from the get-go. So it definitely helped a lot.
Now, something that I think a lot of people won't consider is how are you going to adjust to the thin air in Colorado? Just because that's something that you might not be used to being from Minnesota.
Yeah, no, it's definitely hard. We'll have to do some conditioning and some stuff when we get there. It's just it's that much better once you do get used to it to have those teams come into town and have to play you at 6,000 feet while you're used to it and they're not. So I'm excited. I have a nutritionist who's kind of talked to me too about taking like beet powder, which like all the science behind that like helps your red blood cells, gives you oxygen. So looking at that too, but it'll be a hard transition, but I've talked to guys about it too, and I think they get over it pretty quick. So
Now, let's start off talking about the beginning of your hockey career and work all the way up to where you are now with CC. So you're from Edina, Minnesota. What's it like growing up there, and how'd you start playing hockey?
yeah, Edina's a really kind of hockey based city. A lot, like almost everyone's playing hockey growing up. I was put into it. I honestly started kind of late, probably around like first, second grade is when I really got into it. Um, my dad played, so I was kind of destined to play regardless. But I definitely fell in love with it on my own. And Edina is like the community and the hockey here is so tight, so it was awesome.
Yeah, and who was your favorite player growing up that you try to model your game after today?
My favorite player is definitely Patrick Kane. I actually we got some jerseys up in the bag. You probably see, but yeah, Kane was my favorite player for sure. Got to see him, meet him a few times too. Still my favorite player for sure. He's so fun to watch.
Nice. What's he like in person? I know I usually don't. I feel like I don't see many interviews with him. So what's he like in
Yeah,
person?
yeah. I mean, he's really cool guy. Really reserved, calm. He's just pretty humble as well. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty, starstruck meeting him when he's your favorite player and everything. And But yeah, he was a great guy, and talked to me about hockey and gave me some advice. That was cool.
Yeah, do you think he's the best American-born player of all time? I think Austin Matthews, if he starts winning some Stanley Cups, he might take that from him. But right now, I think Patrick Kane, in my opinion, is the best American player of all time.
Yeah, I agree. I obviously there's some great guys from the old days too, but just like the things he's done and the way he's handled himself, I think right now he's got to be the best.
Now, you were mentioning to me how your dad played in the NHL and won a Stanley Cup with the New Jersey Devils. What's it like, I guess, growing up with a figure like that, and how has he helped you during your hockey career?
Yeah, it was definitely good to have, like a role model, someone you looked up to who's been through it all. And he was always there if I needed advice or anything. And he was really good about not pushing or being too hard on me because like he's been there. So like, he's my number one fan. He'll say that himself. So he's helped me a lot for sure. And whenever I need anything, he always says you'll never see anything that I haven't. So he definitely helps me a lot.
Yeah, and does he ever talk about his college hockey days with Minnesota?
Oh yeah, he'll like to throw some brags in there in his old days. But yeah, I wish I was a little older when he was retiring so I could have watched him play. But I've heard things, and yeah, he likes to talk about a good amount.
Now, another question I want to ask you is he's obviously played with the Devils and won a Stanley Cup with them. So does he have any good Lou Lamoriello stories about his playing days with the Devils? I was told to ask just because he's such a great coach.
Yeah, he definitely does. I don't know if I could recite one, but I do know, now with the Islanders and stuff, when he's been winning series and successful there, he's reached out to him and texted him, and he's texted back like, "Hey Tom, thanks, whatever." So he's actually kept in touch with him a little bit, and yeah, I know that there's a lot of stories there for sure that you could say.
Now, before college, you played for your high school in Edina. Just talk about that experience for a little bit and what did you take away from it?
Yeah, it was awesome, and in high school here, you're growing up playing with the same kids your whole life. So you get to high school. Um, it's really fun just playing with almost all your brothers and your best friends and just coming together, and everyone wants to win the state tournament here. So that was definitely a great time for sure.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about the Minnesota high school hockey scene and what's it like being a player in that atmosphere because I've seen the clips of the state tournament at the XL Center. It's pretty electric to say the least. And being from the East Coast, I feel like it's kind of hard to understand what that Minnesota high school hockey scene's like if you're not in it.
Right. Yeah. Through junior, I've played with quite a bit of, prep school kids out east who they're always asking the same thing, what it's like. And it's really cool. Like I said, you grow up playing with the same people, and so do all the other communities. So you're playing against the same kids, since you're in sixth grade too. So there's rivalries built all the way up throughout your senior year, and some bad blood, and you just always want to win. And I'd say Edina might be the most like hated city in Minnesota too. So, you're against everyone best, and when you're winning like almost every game, it feels good for sure. And yeah, the state tournaments, that nothing beats that. Getting 18,000 people in the XL, just packing it to watch some high schoolers play hockey is still crazy to me. But it just packs every year, and it's super fun to play in.
And you scored a goal in one of those state tournaments. Just talk about that goal and what it was like because I love the celebration that you did, kind of just like
Yeah,
showing up the crowd a little bit.
yeah. We kind of planned some of those sallies, but it was something that just happened on impulse, and the puck bounced to me. I got another rebound, and yeah, I just went up to the other team student section and just gave him a hand behind the ear, like can't hear you. But yeah, that was fun for sure, and it got some publicity too. So
Now, what's been your favorite memory, I guess, from Edina, whether it's on or off the ice, I guess.
yeah, I mean, I guess the easy answer would be winning the state tournament my senior year. But other than that, I think just like overall, just like spending time with all the guys in the locker room and all the stuff you do, get off the ice to practice, you're in the locker room for like an hour talking about it and whatever, going out to eat with the guys, just hanging out with them at all times. And that's what makes, winning it all even better is you guys are just so close and everyone knows how hard we've worked. So, yeah, just like spending time with the guys and getting rewarded is for sure something that stuck with us.
Now, at Edina, you played with many wonderful players. Some of them are in college hockey, are going to be in college hockey. And one of those players was Jake Boltman. He just got drafted by the Calgary Flames in 2020. What was it like to be his teammate in high school, and just talk about him as a player as well?
Yeah, he's definitely a character. He's one of the loudest, most vocal guys I know for sure. Um, and the way he can just snap it into gear. He'll be joking in the locker room before a game, and then the second his skates touch the ice, he's out there just killing guys. So he's the guy that you definitely want to have on your team, not playing against for sure. Um, Great teammate, great leader, but yeah, he's a clown for sure.
You also played with Liam Malmquist, who's going to Wisconsin next year. What was he like as a teammate, both on and off the ice?
Yeah, he might be like my best friend still. So he's awesome to play with. We had a lot of chemistry. It was really fun playing with him on a line together our senior year, and he he's in good shape. He'll do really well at Wisconsin for sure. So it'll be exciting to watch him play as well. So.
Now, before you played in the North American Hockey League, you played in the British Columbia Hockey League for a season. How did you get the opportunity to go to British Columbia and play there?
Yeah, the assistant coach out there, Lee Mendelson, watched me play in like a AAA. I was playing for the Minnesota Blades out in Pittsburgh, AAA tournament, like U18, after my junior year of high school. And he just kind of reached out and showed some interest. And the BCHL was a league that I was kind of interested in prior to that also, just hearing about it from a couple other guys who went out there and liked it. And then he came out and watched a practice in Edina, and we kind of met that way, and ended up going out to the camp summer after my senior year. Things went well, and I loved the area out there, the rink, everything was great. So I immediately wanted to go play there, and it worked out well.
Yeah, and how'd you handle being far away from home when you're in the BCHL, and how was that adjustment? And do you think that time being away from home will help you when you're in college, being far away from home as well?
Yeah, it'll absolutely help. It was hard at first. It's first time moving away from home. The first month or whatever is hard, especially with like social media, seeing all your friends, together doing stuff, and you're kind of on your own. But I transitioned quick, kind of realized what I'm there for, what the goal is, and once you get closer with your teammates, it's really fun. Just going to the rink every day and getting better. So. It'll definitely help me for sure now that I've been gone. And yeah.
Now, talk about the transition from the BCHL to the North American Hockey League, and what were the main differences you noticed between the two leagues playing wise?
Yeah, I think the BC, it's super, like fast paced, a lot of offense back and forth. All the defensemen can skate, can score goals, put up points as well. And similar in the NAHL too. Every like the depth is great, speed, especially this year. The trickle down with the COVID and some colleges not playing, guys coming back to junior. The league is really good this year, and I played in the Central Division, which is probably the best division in the league. With Aberdeen, Bismarck. Every team you play every night's competitive. They can roll 4 lines, 60. So. Heavy hockey, and you're getting everyone's best every night. So both leagues were great. So yeah.
Now, what made you want to go to the North American Hockey League and make that transition from the British Columbia League to the NAHL?
Yeah, so with the border closed and the BC in kind of jeopardy of not playing, didn't want to risk going up there. And Wenatchee, actually, the team I was at in the BC, they didn't play the past year. So I just figured I'd stay, closer to home and play in the NAHL where there's a good opportunity for me. And it worked out well.
And what's the NAHL like, I guess, because one thing that I've been told about playing in that league is just how physical it is. And you're going against guys that are a lot older than you are, which is very similar to what you're going to experience in the NCHC. Just talk a little bit about that physicality and getting used to it when you first play in that league.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a jump. I would say there's probably like the NAHL, like the South Division is probably the biggest reputation of the heaviness and the
Mhm.
physicality, a lot of fighting. Our division definitely had some of that. So it was good, to get adjusted to that. And, every night you're getting guys who are coming after you, especially as one, like the guy who's known for scoring. So definitely helped me for sure.
Now, I know you're a goal scorer, but did you ever have to drop the gloves at any point during juniors?
I didn't. For me, it's kind of, either the toughest guy in the league wants to fight you or no one does. So I ended up not getting one under my belt, but didn't have a lot of opportunities too either. So
Mhm. Do you think fighting should be allowed in college hockey? I know there's been some discussion about it with some of the players. I know some players think there should be just because it helps police the game a little bit better, but what's your opinion on that?
yeah, I mean, I think it would be very interesting. I haven't really, obviously, I haven't played a game yet, so I don't know what the dynamic is in that sense. But I think it definitely does, help police the game and keep guys a little more disciplined. It would be interesting to see how that would work, with the cages and stuff. But I think that would be interesting for sure.
I feel like if you would allow fighting in college hockey, you would have to get rid of the cages. I think it would make no sense to not
Yeah.
have the cages and fighting in the same time. That's just my personal opinion on it, though.
Yeah, no, I would agree, and it is weird how you go from visors in junior to cages in college and back to visors and professionals. So that would be good argument for that, I guess, as well.
Is it an adjustment going from a visor to a cage after you just played it last year? Like, I don't
Oh
really
yeah,
think about that
absolutely.
adjustment too much.
Yeah, I actually just threw a cage on like 2 weeks ago to start getting used to it again because it feels like you can't see, but the bars all across your face, like no peripheral vision. But you transition to it pretty quick. After the first week, you kind of get used to it because you've played in one growing up your whole life, so you kind of remember what it was like. And I wear the Oreo one where it's like white on the inside, which helps a little bit too,
Hmm.
black on the outside, so it helps you see the puck a little bit better too. But it's definitely a transition.
So you're a cage guy, you're not a bubble guy, because I know that's some players like the bubble one versus the actual cage visor.
Yeah, I've never worn a bubble. I don't really like to deal with like the fogginess, and I think I'd be kind of hot in there, not much wind flow in the face. I might give it a try. We'll see, but for now, I'm with the cage.
I prefer the bubble just because of, like you were saying, the peripheral vision. I feel like you get more of that wearing the bubble cage versus the actual cage. So that's why I always wore the bubble, but I know
Yeah,
for different guys, it just matters of what you prefer.
absolutely. Yeah, I think that would be a reason that would be the reason that I would wear a bubble for sure. Is just staying with that visor look, the see
Mhm.
through glass.
Now, in the 2019-20 season, you had 39 points in the BCHL, but then this past season, you had 52 points. I guess, what'd you work on during the season that helped lead your jump in point production?
Yeah, I think it was kind of just like I was saying earlier, the confidence and having the puck on my stick more. And, as a rookie and junior, you kind of find your role and you don't want to, slip out of that. You're kind of bound for playing time or whatever. And you're just playing the safe way almost is kind of what I want to say. And, this year being able to control the play more and make more plays after the first year under my belt, I think is the big difference. Um, I think, yeah, I think yeah, if I went back to the BC, I think I'd have the same jump or whatever, just with that confidence. So definitely, as you play more years, you get more comfortable and can do more. So, yeah.
Now, how did the North American Hockey League help prepare you for college hockey with CC?
Yeah, I think like we were just talking about with, the physicality, the speed, the depth, just, kind of all aspects of it, are scaled down, but transitioning to the college level. So yeah, I mean, it definitely helped me a lot for sure.
Now, we're now in a segment I like to call the non-hockey segment, where I ask you some non-hockey questions just to get to know you a little bit off the ice. My first question to you is, who was the funniest teammate you've ever played with at St. Cloud?
St. Cloud, I would have to say probably Blake Perbix or Jack Suki. Wenatchee in the BC, this might be the funniest kid I've ever played with. Period is Nick Caffarelli. plays at UNH now. Shout out to him.
What made him so funny? Like any stories you can share on the podcast or not really?
I mean, he's an Italian Boston kid, heavy accent. Is he loves to mimic the comedians and quote the movies, and
Mhm.
he's just everything is just off the head. So he's a funny kid to be with for sure.
Now, you obviously had the best style on the team when you were with St. Cloud, but besides yourself, who had the best style on the team?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I definitely did. But second, I'd say when he wanted to, Brendan Kim, Canadian kid, could pull out some style. Or I gotta throw my roommate a bone too, Ryan O'Neill. He cares about his style the most for sure. I gave him some hand-me-downs though that helped out his style for sure. That's what throws him up there. But
Nice, nice. Now, if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
oof, that's a great question. I think I'd say Steph Curry. He's my favorite basketball player, and he's got a smart mind. Kind of goes outside of just the basketball world and business and everything. So I think he'd be really interesting to talk with.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear his college basketball experience just because he went to a small
Yeah,
school and had that big run in the tournament a couple years ago. So I feel like that'll be interesting to hear his perspective a few years later about that.
absolutely.
Yeah, my answer is pretty similar. It'll be Tom Brady just because he's obviously one of the best football players of all time, but just what he overcame being a 6th-round draft pick and having to work all the way up to be the starter at Michigan and in New England. It would just be cool to hear how he overcame all those obstacles and made it to where he is today.
Yeah, that'd be a great one as well.
Now, what is the most interesting thing you've seen or read this week or this month?
Good question. I mean, maybe just the stuff about the Delta variant, and possibilities of all these shutdowns and the mask coming back. It's just kind of crazy to me how we're still going through this, and it's affecting so many of our lives and the things we do on a daily basis. So, hopefully everything works out and we can get past this. But all this stuff and the facts are just pretty fascinating.
Yeah, no, that's definitely. I hope things don't go back to where they were last year. That would be pretty upsetting, especially with we had some hope. I feel like during the spring that things were kind of getting back to normal. So hopefully, things won't turn back to where they were before. But if I have to wear a mask going to college hockey games this year, I really don't care about it. Just as long
Yeah,
as the games are being played, that's all that really matters to me.
exactly. As long as we're playing and there's fans, we're good.
Exactly. I feel the same way about that. Now, what music do you like to listen to, just on a general basis or before a game?
I'm a big rap guy. I definitely listen to rap, and like EDM, mixes like that too. Um, I can't. This past year, I've also kind of got into country a little bit more. Just from being on the lake out here in Minnesota, I couldn't, play. I don't have a country playlist or tell you like a name of a country song, but I definitely like to listen to it when my buddies are playing it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I've been starting to get into country too. I think it's just the summer. Maybe that's
Yeah.
usually when I listen to. I barely listen to country in the winter time, so that could
Oh yeah.
possibly be a reason why as well.
Absolutely.
Now, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve. I'm a pretty neat guy, so maybe just when people don't clean up after themselves or just messy in general. Um, I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty easy to just take care of everything around you and like that. And I've definitely seen some people that are pretty messy, and it's pretty annoying. But I got a couple, but that's probably the top one.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. I'm kind of a neat freak myself, but I think for my big one would be bad driving, just because like if I need to get somewhere and someone's like driving very slowly or driving out of control, it just really bothers me just because I want to get to my destination on time without worrying about the guy in front of me not knowing what to do.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That might be like my one B.
Mhm.
That's one of mine as well.
Now, this is kind of not really a question, but I just found this interesting that you're the second child from that 1995 team that will be playing college hockey from the Devils. I thought that, I don't know if you knew that. I thought that was a
I
pretty cool
didn't.
fact. Yeah, no,
Who's the other one?
Jimmy Dowd, he played for Penn State.
Okay.
Jim Dowd was his father, and he played on the 1995 Devils team and won a Stanley Cup. So I thought that was a pretty cool fact. I just thought I would share it to you.
Wow, that is a cool fact. Yeah, I'll have to tell my dad about that one. That's cool.
Now, back to some hockey questions. Now, my first question to you is, what advice, I guess, would you give a younger player who's trying to pursue a Division I college hockey scholarship? I know your family has probably great advice with your dad playing college hockey and your sister also going to play college hockey at Harvard next year as well.
Yeah, I'd say, it's kind of all about your effort and your attitude. As long as you're trying your hardest and you know what you're good at and what you bring to the table, and you do exactly that, coaches will admire that. And there's always a spot for someone unique. You don't have to be exactly what everyone else you think is, and just play your game and to the best of your ability, and you'll definitely have potential.
Now, do you have any shout outs you like to give to any of your family members, friends, or anyone else before we end this interview?
Yeah, I mean, we'll shout out my sister Hannah. You just mentioned her. I talked about my roommate Ryan O'Neill. He's a good buddy of mine. Lived together all year. We'll leave it at that. I could keep going, but we'll leave it at that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Brett. I really appreciate it. I wish you all the best for this upcoming season with Colorado College, and hopefully I can see you play sometime in person soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Now, one question I want to ask you in the interview.